Hi everyone, my name is Ashish. I'm a junior doctor working in the UK. In today's video, I'll be talking about how you can get your first driving license in the UK. And if you're someone who's new to this country, then you should definitely try to get a driving license as soon as possible. I was someone who ignored this part of my life for a very long time, and then we were hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. So things got a bit difficult and it was very difficult to book these driving lessons and the tests, but I finally got my driving license and it made my life much easier. So it's a good idea to try to get your driving license sorted out as soon as possible. Now, this advice might not go for you if you are living in a city like London, where there can be a lot of traffic and the price of maintaining a car can be quite a lot, and people usually travel by public transportation. But if you're someone who's living in a city that's outside of London, then you should think about getting a driving license. Let's talk about why. So there are a few advantages of driving in the UK. The first one is that it's cheaper in the long term. So if you buy a car or if you lease out a car, then it's cheaper in the long term rather than taking public transportation for each and everything. Then it's quite convenient because you don't have to wait for a cab or you don't have to wait for a bus or a train. You bypass the problems of poor connectivity. For example, if I am living in Wales and then I need to travel to England, then there can be some connectivity issues between trains of both of these countries. So you can bypass all these issues if you have a car. It saves times, it gives you more freedom, and it is required in some of the training posts. For example, GP training, where you have to go to people's house for a home visit. So if you want to apply for GP training, then you need to have a UK driving license so that you can take your car for a home visit. So these are the advantages of driving in the UK. Let's talk about how you can start this process. So the first step is to get a provisional license. And in order to get your first provisional license to drive a car in the UK, you must be at least 15 years and 9 months old. You should be able to read a number plate from 20 meters away, or you should have proper spectacles so that you can accommodate for this vision loss. And you must have legally lived in the UK for at least 185 days in the total in the past 12 months. So first step is to go to the UK DVLA website and then apply for your first provisional license. Now, this provisional license will cost you £34, and you will need an identity document such as a passport. You might be asked for your national insurance number at this point as well, which you can find in your BRP, that is the British Residence Permit, and you'll be asked the addresses where you have lived for up to the last 3 years, and you might be asked some more additional information. Once you fill in the application, you will get your license in about a week's time, and this might take a bit of more time if the DVLA needs to run a few more checks on you. Now, the second step is to pass your theory test. This theory test costs £23, and it consists of two parts. So the first one is MCQ examination, and the second one is hazard perception test. So MCQ examination consists of 50 MCQs, and you need to get a score of 43 out of 50, and you have 57 minutes to pass this examination. Once you are done with your MCQ test, then it is followed by the hazard perception test, which is a test where you have to find hazards in everyday road situations that you're shown in forms of video clips, and you need to get a score of 44 out of 75 total marks in this hazard perception test to pass, and you need to pass both parts of this test to pass overall. In my experience, the theory part of the test overall was not very difficult. I studied for about 2 weeks, and I used this app that is highly recommended, and this app is called DVLA 4-in-1 Driving Test app, and you can download it on your mobile phone. It costs about £5, and just repeat all the questions. There's a feature in this app that is called Pass Guarantee. Activate it and then just follow the app and try to learn these questions, and you'll be fine. I passed with a score of 48 out of 50 in MCQs and 60 out of 75 in the hazard perception test. And there's a tip. Lots of people who go for these driving tests, they start reading the highway code. That is the official documentation on how you should drive on highways and different kinds of roads in the UK. It is a lengthy documentation, and I don't think that you need to read this documentation word by word. You should just follow the application on your mobile phone, practice the questions, learn their answers. And if you are in any doubt, then you can just do a Google search, or you can use this highway code as a reference document. Do not read this highway code word by word. The next step is to pass your practical test, and in order to book the practical driving test, you will have to pay £62 for cars. You can take driving lessons from driving school instructors, or you can take it from freelance driving instructors, and that is the thing that I did. And each lesson can cost from about £22 to £35 per hour. You can get some discount on this if you pay for about 10 or 12 lessons together, and that's what I did. And you can choose between the automatic car or a manual transmission car. I went for the automatic transmission car because I don't like driving manual cars, but if you are someone who wants to go for the manual one, you can go for that. And if you pass the driving test on a manual car, then you can drive the manual car plus the automatic car. But if you pass the test that was on the automatic car, then you cannot drive a manual car, so keep that in mind. In order to pass the practical test, you should not make more than 15 minor errors, and a minor error can be maybe not looking at the mirror when turning towards that side, or maybe going for an unnecessary indicator. For example, you are going on a road and there's just left turn, and you indicate on that road where there is no right turn at all. So these are just minor errors. And the second thing is that you should not make any major error at all, and a major error can be something that is much more serious. I'll tell you about my experience. So I went for my first driving practical test, and in this test you are made to drive for about 20 minutes, and your instructor who sits next to you, and they will ask you to park at different places so that they know how you stop the car, and then you begin your journey again. And at the end of this, they will ask you to perform some maneuver, and this can be parallel parking, or there can be a few other maneuvers as well that you will be taught during your lessons. Now what I did, I was just about to finish this examination, and what I did when they asked me to park on the side of the road, I accidentally hit the curb, and that was a major error, and I instantly failed. Then I booked my test again after a few months, and what happened is I went for all of these, and I finally passed this practical test. So it was a big relief for me, but keep in mind that you should not make even a single major error in order to pass. So personally, I took about 10 to 12 driving lessons before going for my first practical test, but it can be up to you how many lessons you want to take. And if you are someone who's quite experienced in driving, then you can go for much lesser lessons, but I would advise you to at least go for a few before going for your first practical test. So that is all about driving in the UK. If you are new to this channel, then consider subscribing to this channel, click on the like button, leave a comment for me, and share this video with your friends and colleagues. Thanks a lot for watching. I will see you soon.